Hi everybody! Thanks to the support of our patrons, RollPlay is able to put on quarterly live at the table role-playing events. We're coming up on a live show for one of our shows, Court of Swords, and I thought, whether you're a new viewer or you're just tuning in for the first time, you might want a little refresher. So here's where we're at. Court of Swords is the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game. We've been going for a little over 60 episodes now, and the last 10 or 12 episodes have been part of an arc. The party of adventurers is made up of Berg, a half-orc, who used to be a slave, and then he escaped, but then all his friends died. Having all your friends die is a thing that happens to Berg a lot. So currently, he serves a terrible god of destruction called the Tower, and he seeks answers about what he sees to be a seemingly bottomless supply of bad karma. He's also semi-possessed by a mysterious entity we've been calling the Dark Passenger. Dan's Gaming is playing a cleric named Ramus. Ramus doesn't have a soul, literally. He worships the same god that Berg does, the Tower, and someone managed to cheat the cycle of reincarnation so that he could come back to life and serve the Tower again. He's Berg's only living friend from the time before they served the Tower. Ezekiel III is playing Kalimat, a thunder dragonborn touched by storm and sky. He's a mastermind rogue, master manipulator, talented singer, and is on a quest to discover others of his kind. Sally Hoffa, played by JP, is a turtle, which is pretty much what it sounds like. He's a sage and a wizard from Turtletown with a skill for illusions who studied and followed the story of Berg the Immortal until he and his friend, Kalimat, finally caught up with the legend and got caught up in it themselves. I've been calling this arc Stranger Stars, and so far I think it's been living up to its name. The characters have been given an impromptu meeting with a group called the Immortals, who rule the magical city of Brass, in which they were warned not to trust the servants of the Tower, or their handler, an immortal named Hazan. After that, they went to a demi-plane where the wizard Utrix dwelt among a menagerie of servants and prisoners on the behest of Inanna, an immortal and beautiful demigod who asked them to steal an experiment he was working on. Partway through that encounter, they switched sides, but only long enough to both corrupt Utrix's realm and free his most dangerous prisoner, who then killed Utrix and set about a terrible cataclysm. Avoiding strange marauders, demon overlords, and befriending a goddess of fire, they made their way out of Utrix's realm and ended up in the deep desert, the Court of Wands. Immediately following that, they lost everything they owned into a bag of devouring. Oops. Sorry, Dan. So now they've been wandering the desert. They met an Earth Genasi monk at an ancient temple to a god called the Star, the god of hope. Berg had a conversation with his Dark Passenger, and we learned that he calls himself Tulpa. Berg learned how to use a new weapon, Tulpa's Conduit, that was an old weapon he was unable to use, transformed into its new shape by the passenger. The guys tried to ask Heaven for some help, but got a response indicating that all was not well in the Bureau of Divination and Oracular Activity. A group of orcs arrived at the temple, and Kali immediately, made friends with their leader, a woman named Mogok. Ramus and Sally Hoffa learned about the orc god, an entity called the Father of Black Sand, and they freed a young warrior from a curse placed on him by a demon. The party packed up and headed west towards the city of Brass and an ominous column of smoke. I hope you'll tune in at 1 p.m. Pacific time this Saturday for a very special 8-hour live episode of RollPlay Court of Swords.